when I first moved to the US, people would judge the way I look, the way I presented myself, or I didn't look the part. I didn't fit in most communities. My accent, my body, the clothes I wear, or even the food that I loved. There were moments when I shrank myself, when I tried to hide parts of who I am, but culture is always something that you can't hide. You can't bury it without burying yourself, right? And so eventually I realized that erasing myself only caused pain. And so embracing who I am became my act of survival and act of resistance. She was searching for belonging. She was searching for a place she could be a Fa'afafine. She could be Samoan and later a proud trans woman without having to compromise. I think thinking back, she was searching for a home where she didn't have to choose between her identities. I'd say, Taffy, don't rush to fit in. The world will one day learn to make room for you. But until then, never forget that you're already whole, you're already belonging, and nothing about you needs to be smaller to be loved. Growing up in Samoa, one of my earliest memories is being surrounded by family, and especially during the holiday season, right? There's a lot of celebrations happening, and so the combination of good company with good friends, good family, music, the laughter, and the dancing, I think that's all just pure joy. I remember all the stories, including even the ghost stories that were shared by the elders, especially at nighttime. Those moments weren't just entertainment, they were teachings. It was fun, it was family, and it was us. My grandmother not only shared the stories of our lineage, but also the everyday values of Samoa. Those values are love, alofa, respect, fa'aloalo, and service, tautua. She reminded me that culture isn't just in ceremonies and rituals, it's in the way that you treat others. It's in the way that you carry yourself in the world, and it's in the way that you give back. And so from her teachings, I've learned that heritage is less about what you say and more about how you live. Savalivali means go for a walk. It's playful, but it also carries wisdom about movement, about journey. And as a young person growing up in Samoa at the time, I didn't understand its meaning. But when you sing this melody amongst friends and families, you feel a connection to your heritage. As a Fa'afafine and a trans woman, I felt embraced in some ways within Samoa. My identity was somewhat recognized as part of our cultural fabric. However, when I migrated to the US, I encountered Western stigma and misunderstanding. And on one side, I carried the beauty of cultural acceptance, and on the other, I faced the weight of rejection. The duality shaped me, and that taught me that strength, but it also left wounds I had to learn to heal over time. Performing arts always brought me pride. Cultural dances and songs and storytelling wasn't just performance, it was ceremony. For every step and every movement, when there's dancing and singing, the movement was a reminder that I came from a people of strength and beauty, and it made me feel rooted with my culture. It shows up in everything. It shows up in how I greet people, in the food that I prepare and share. It shows up in the way that I lead and the way that I organize. I don't separate my work from my culture. UTOPIA here in Washington is an extension of my Samoa values, which is alofa, love, respect, fa'aloalo, and tautua, service. And those values have always guided the programs that we provide here at UTOPIA. through every conversation or talanoa, and through every decision that I make. I saw how our queer and trans Pacific Islanders, our Mahu, Wakasalualewa, Fakaleti, Fafafine, Palopa, community were invisible in both mainstream LGBTQIA+ community and spaces, but also within our own Pacific Islander spaces. That absence wasn't just painful, but it was dangerous. And I wanted to change that. I wanted to make sure that we're visible in those spaces. And that lit a fire in me to build this home, to build Utopia here in Washington, to create a platform and a movement where we could see ourselves reflected, but also you could see your people stand in their full truth. Yeah, I think it feels dangerous to not be represented in decision-making tables. Oftentimes, policies and systems change, and decisions about our lives, about healthcare decisions, about any type of decision, whether culturally or politically, is made, but we're not visible in those spaces to make those decisions about the lives of our people. I think it's important that our experiences are also shared in those decision-making tables. I think it's also important that you see yourself in those decision-making tables, and that the decisions about your livelihood, whether it's your health care, whether it's housing, whether it's socioeconomic barriers, that those decisions are made with you present, because your voice is also valid in those decisions. Just a few weeks ago, we hosted our annual Mana Festival. In the past, it used to be a fundraising event. Most recently, we opened it up to be a free community festival where all of our families, our community partners are able to attend. And from there, I watched hundreds and hundreds of folks celebrate, not just our cultural dances, not just our songs, but we were honoring our roots without shame. We were honoring our identities as Fa'afafine, as Mahu, as trans women, as queer and trans people. We saw our community take up that much space, and we saw how happy and joyfully, proudly, that reminded me that we're out here doing more than just hosting events. We're building legacy, we're rewriting our narratives, but also we're healing across generations. I think I lean mostly on my chosen family. Here at Utopia Washington, this is my family away from home. This is the chosen family that I come to have relied on for support, that I have relied on for strength, that I have relied on for any type of support, whether that's emotional support or mental or physical support. By staying close to community, building spaces like Utopia, and by practicing daily rituals, even speaking your native tongue, speaking Samoan at home, or speaking Samoan at workspaces or spaces that keeps me rooted. I think sharing traditional food or even playing music from home, that keeps me grounded. I see tradition as a living thing, and it's not about freezing culture in time, but also allowing it to grow with us. I honor what my ancestors gave me while creating space for my truth today. Love. Love is service, love as respect, love as an action, because that's the core of everything that I do. I hope that they inherit pride, the kind that makes them walk tall, never apologizing for being who they are. Pride in being proud to be Samoan, in pride in being Fa'afafine, pride in being trans, or pride in being just Pacific Islander. My fear is that assimilation and erasure will chip away, and that the younger generations might lose our language. I think language isn't just words. It carries our wisdom. It carries us worldwide, our spirituality and our way of being. And losing it would mean losing a part of ourselves. Seeing our community in diaspora sing our songs, dance with pride, speak our language, organize, and unapologetically claim space, I think that courage tells me that we're far from fading, but that we're thriving. Everything you need is already in your veins. Walk with courage and lead with love. My heart always longs for Samoa. Whether I move back or not, I know my spirit will return there. But until then, I will always carry Samoa with me wherever I go. So, long, short answer, not right now.